guys. This is Danielle Hanson. Sorry to be a few minutes late. You knew this wasn't going to run smoothly, right? Um, you can test all kinds of things, but your computer always surprises you. So I'm here now. Hope we have a few people on. I don't know how to check that, but that's kind of exciting. But I can check it on my phone while talking to you guys. There we go. Okay, that's something else. All right. So I'm Danielle Hanson. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining me here tonight. And let me just make sure that this actually is live by using my phone. Okay, I got someone who joined. Hey, Anna, how are you doing? I think I got it to work. All right, it's just the two of us. Probably people are running a little late because of the glitch. You can hear me all right? Let's see. All right, excellent, excellent. Give it a couple more minutes. All right, I got another joiner. Hello, hope everything's good on the audio. Hello. Yep, loud and clear, great, great. So, I don't want to waste all my clever banter when I might need it in a minute. So I'll wait for a couple more people. So Anna, meet Magnus. Magnus is my husband. Magnus, meet Anna. She coordinates this series. Hello. So I threw my cat out a few minutes ago because she was in here, and then he bit me. So my foot's bleeding now. You can probably hear my dogs too. That's kind of exciting. They're locked downstairs. Let's see. I brought a bunch of books that I like. I can kill some time with that. I think they're all up on my blog, and I might go through them again later if I have to kill some time since it's just the two of you. But like this is by Trish Murphy, and it's amazing. It's called Hemming Flame, and it won the Mae Swinson Award last year and came out. It's unreal. And this one called After We Died. It's by Allison Cobb, and it has all these amazing facts about ant cultures and the nuclear weapons and society. It's fascinating. And this one I read a couple years ago, Lost Alphabet. I like Lisa Olstein in general, but this was all about a moth, a guy who collects moths out in some, we don't even know where he is, but he seems to be going mad as it goes on. There are all these short prose poems, and it just kind of builds this narrative. So they're all nice little pieces in their own right, but then it just builds on each other and creates this completely mad world of scientific obsession. So I like that a lot. This one came out last year, and actually I knew her in high school, and it's always good when you read someone's work that you know and you realize that it's awesome. Oh, you wrote a book review for which one, Anna? For the Lost Alphabet? Or, I am going the wrong direction. Anyway, I'll wait for that answer. But yeah, this one is fantastic. Surgical Wing. Kristen Robertson. Let me see if I can even find that one with the moon in a box. Okay, we're still, I'm still not. Okay, let's see. It has these moments in it. It also has the scientific bend to it, where it has these experiments taking place in some lab where they're attaching wings to humans, and it's kind of the clinical notes from those, and they of course don't always go right. It's pretty fascinating. But then it's interspersed with poems that aren't about humans with wings. I'm not going to find the moon in the box, but it was really awesome. I put a part of it on my blog, so you can look back for it. All right. Let's see. And this one was written by, it's called Broken Horizons. It's by Richard Jackson. He was my undergrad professor. And it's the latest one of his that he came out with it last year. And he has this amazing series that's kind of in the words of they're in the voices of Old Testament prophets, but spoken to modern day, which is, they're indicting us for our treatment of the poor or the environment and the destruction that's going to come out. I mean, you can imagine the Old Testament doom and gloom kind of stuff, someone yelling at us for what we're doing today, but just really well done. Let's see. Ooh, this one was fun. It's a silver book. I think I have it where you can see. White Light by Athena Farrokhzad. She is a immigrant, I can't remember from where, to Sweden, and this book was translated from Swedish. And it's called White Light, and it's kind of an immigrant experience. And the words are written on these black lines you're seeing. And again, it's just this book that just builds as it goes on. Pretty remarkable. All right, I'm getting texts from Magnus telling me to start. I guess we're 15 minutes into it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start. We do have a few people. Okay. I'll start with my bio, which is pretty awkward to read about yourself. And so I'm the author of Fraying Edge of Sky. I'll show my own books now. Fraying Edge of Sky, which is this guy, love the blue on it. It came out this year from Codhill Poetry Press. Won their prize last year. And this book, Ambushing Water, that came out last year from Brick Road Poetry Press. And this one I don't have a sticker on, but it was the finalist for Georgia Author of the Year award this year. I'm the poetry editor for Doubleback Books. We're about to come out with our next title in the next couple days or maybe a week. So look for What Brings You to Tel Amo by Virginia Chase Sutton. And it'll be a free download, so it's our little gift for you. And I'm also on the staff of the Atlanta Review. All right. So the first several I'm going to read come from Fraying Edge of Sky, the book that just came out. A Guide to Ridding Oneself of an Infestation of Angels. Handpicking is best. A gentle squeeze between forefinger and thumb. I have a bunch of angel poems in Fraying Edge of Sky. So here are a couple more. Angels is Mice. The infestation was in the crawl space and walls, chanting under floorboards, hosannas in the middle of the night. Angel scat in the yard at dawn. The website said to take action at the first sign, so we set traps and waited. If the infestation goes on long enough, you may start to notice a distinct, unpleasant smell. Markings on the walls. Angels leave grease trails wherever they go, spreading diseases to smite wicked, announcing unwanted pregnancies. If you find angels, don't try cohabitating. We patch holes in floors and stop prayers for intercession. Dispose of bodies double-bagged. Keep pets away. We make conditions inhospitable. Avoid being the only holy people in a wicked town, where prophets slacking their duties. We must stop being shepherds watching flocks at night. So we've had rat infestations all summer. They've been really bad in downtown Atlanta. And so working on a manuscript that I suspected had too many angels in it and killing rats left and right in our crawl space. Can't help but put those together. This next one comes from, if you remember the 10 plagues that the Israelites faced in Exodus, this is them as angels. Plagues of angels. 1, the angels turn to blood. The river stinks. You cannot drink it. 2, the country teems with angels. They come into your house and onto your bed. They crawl into your ovens. 3, the angels infest your heads. They itch. 4, it is unclear whether the angels are wild animals or flies. It is clear the angels fight. 5, the angels are a virus in your livestock's blood. 6, angels erupt under your skin. 7, angels flash in sky. Their falling tramples crops. 8, the hungry angels eat what is left in the fields. 9, the angels grow so fat they block the sun for 3 days. 10, your firstborn have become the angels. I read those last week at a reading I did. One of my friends was there. And afterwards, she sent me an Onion article that had Pope Francis looking just super annoyed standing on the on St. Mark's Square, not St. Mark's Square, whatever that Vatican Square, the St. Peter's Square, I guess. And there's this dead angel in front of him, and he has like a broom and a shovel or something in his hands, and he looks so annoyed. And it says that he's having to clean up the angels that keep flying into the windows of the Vatican. List of confessions. I'm done with angels for right now. List of confessions. I left a mirror hidden in the shadows to track the sun. I held the moon underwater and watched her drown. I stapled a spider to the sky, and then another in the outline of you. I practiced getting lost so I could lead you astray. I captured your words in a jar with vinegar. I pickled your words. I made your words into a condiment. I am slowly replacing you with hair I collect from your pillow. I forgot to take a picture of your absence. I deleted the picture I took of your absence. For a while, I got kind of interested in writing poems where you take the ancient mythological monsters and you match them up with the B-movie monsters, because I think they're part of the same human continuum. So this is the next couple come from that impulse. The first one is Dr. Frankenstein at it again. He has sewn 3 heads to a dog, and it is terrible. Angry in 3 heads at once, a beast bound straight to hell. He has grafted a stag to a lion to a bird to a woman. He pauses from his work and admires the woman. He tweaks, replacing one part with another, transforms the harpy into an angel with swan's wings, turns hell into heaven, and rests. See, I got another angel in there. The Hydra as a mummy. And this is like the B-movie mummies, of course. The Hydra is a mummy, but how did it become that way? Let's say Hercules has already dispatched the monster, leaving a stump to be wrapped tight as a seed in its hull. Each head stored in a Coptic jar, an endless stack in a tomb. When the tomb is disturbed, the mummy wanders forth, headless and eyeless and slow. Does the Hydra return to water? Wet bandages, moldering, waterlogged? But let's say the Hydra was not Hercules's. Perhaps it wilted with age, each head wrapped individually, spiced with cedar, juniper, and henna, laid in a many-headed coffin inside coffin. And when the mummy exits and the modern archaeological hero cuts off head after head, new live ones sprout in their place, a flower blooming after a harsh winter. From my water. So I look up and I can see these little emoji thingies going up, which is kind of fun. But every now and then, like angry ones show up, and I don't know how to take that. So I hope you're not angry at me, but you can't get me. I'm in the internet. Carving a name in the ice of a river. It would be pointless if you didn't need a knife. Be careful not to slip. You won't feel the pain, but your work will be as undone as your heart. Now sit back and shiver. Wait until spring. Freeze slowly to your death as the name unmoors. It is off to haunt the ocean. You cannot haunt the ocean. So those were all from my latest Fraying Edge of Sky. I'm going to read a few now from Ambushing Water that came out last year that has the best cover ever because Carrie Paul out in LA did it. It's a collage and it's a mythological, amazing beast. And I wish I could write beasts that were quite this amazing. Eating his dead wife. It doesn't even seem weird anymore. Eating his dead wife's ashes in his cereal every morning. He enjoys being with her every day, her inside him for a change. If the cereal is sweetened, he thinks of her eyes. Bran reminds him of her navel and how like a bull it was. He doesn't know what will happen when he runs out of her again. And things are being eaten in the next one too. The bird eats a building. The bird lands in a puddle, instantly shattering the reflection of a building, which she eats in pieces, like a crab wings into pavement, throws her head backwards, gargles the second floor copier before flying away, leaving the puddle to grow a skyscraper, like Prometheus, developing a new liver each night, the price for stealing fire. Homesick. I was just calling to tell you my socks don't match today. The coffee maker's brewing melancholy, and it's cold here. I was just calling to tell you the Turks conquered Europe with tulips. I'm sending you some next week. I was just calling to tell you longing looked in my window while I slept. This morning, I cleaned his face print from the glass. I was just calling to tell you when all my being took flight, 1,000 moths thought of you. All right, the rest of the ones I have tonight are new. Let me just make sure I haven't gotten any texts that say the sound isn't working. Good, excellent. All right, so we'll see how they go. Doorway. Love disappears through the mirror's open doorway, while shadows stand up and stretch. The road is walking away from itself into sunset, crying. The moon is now knocking on your window to be let in. It has seen you holding hands with the air. And as long as we're giving the moon a hard time, this is your mother poem to the moon. Moon, your mother is so dull, she has to steal light from a lamp. Moon, your mother is so poor, the man on her is in rags. So poor, she's never full. Moon, your mother is made of processed cheese. Moon, your mother has never been new. Moon, your mother is so fat, she's an oval. So fat, she wobbles on her orbit. Moon, your mother is so ugly, only mangy dogs howl at her crater face. Moon, your mother is so stupid, she orbits a TV satellite. Moon, your mother's gravity is so weak, it can't even cause a tide in a glass of water. Moon, your mother is so lame, she only inspired this stupid poem. I'm going to assume that all these jokes are completely landing because I can imagine anything I want. Y'all are the best audience ever. These next couple I wrote on a residency up in the mountains of North Georgia at the Hambidge Center, which is a wonderful and extremely isolated place. Building a mountain. Piling rocks isn't so hard. You do the same thing, one wheelbarrow after another. The dirt comes for free as the rocks settle. Maybe jump on them a few times to be certain. The paths are there from the wheelbarrow tracks. Simple, really. And once it's tall enough, by God, some creature will start to live on it. I mean, something has to decide this side is as good as the other. And the birds, trying to make it over the crest, will occasionally drop a fruit or at least the seed of something. Clouds will get caught on the edges and tear. Voila, springs and streams. Really, the only difficulty is finding the wheelbarrow. All right. Y'all comfortable? Got some cocoa? You should have some cocoa or some wine. You can choose. So I have a handful more, probably between 5 and 10 minutes. I'll take some questions afterwards, and I hear that the questions, there's a little lag before they come in. So if you have questions, you can type them in anytime into the comment section, and I won't answer them till the end, so you won't interrupt anything. But feel free to go ahead and get those in there. All right, I need to talk to you. I have to tell you the sound of barred owl just at bedtime, how it seeps through the walls as ghost, how it hangs from ceiling and drips, waiting for the mate's reply, how the who seeps into walls, how it stains. I have to tell you about chard in the beds, how it reaches upward with such intensity on rainbow legs, how it scares me with its desires. I have to tell you about the chick inside the egg, inside hen house, inside fence, and how with no rooster, it is only half a chicken. How it suffers to think of its missing wing, how it dreams of seeds that are whole. I have to tell you, there is a creeping through a field, waiting to attach to a possum, a raccoon, a fox, a ewe. All right. Cowfield. So I wrote this one. We were traveling near Verdun last summer, and which is northeastern France, where a lot of the fights in World War I and World War II happened. Cow field. Once two men looked at a cow field, scattered with the smallest, wildest flowers, light purple, bell-shaped, densely packed in with hundreds of wispy grasses, next to a field of sunflowers, handing out light to bees in charity, shading mice at midday. And these two men, who disagreed about much, agreed that this would be a great place to meet with weapons and kill as many as possible. Except this didn't happen just once, or only here. I think I'm running a little long, so I'm going to cut a couple. All right, I'm going to go dark. This is a poem to say I'm sorry. One dog had just died. So when the second beautiful, long-eared, stubborn hound's gait slowed, we assumed she had the same stone inside her we did. And when she bit you, trying to lift her, we rushed her to the car, carefully driving. We listened to the vet who said she only pulled a muscle. When she refused to climb the stairs to our room, you and I took turns sleeping on the downstairs floor by her side. Our heads were full of lies and selfishness. We thought we could fix her with love. With spoonfuls of food coaxed into mouth, she loved us, so she ate them and lived a while longer. Forgive me, royal ghost. And I'll follow that up with a love poem. The cat was near death when we found him in the tub, wet in vomit. Although we weren't sure if we liked the cat, and we were sure he didn't like us, we paid a month's salary to save him. We kept the dog to the point in retrospect of cruelty. We rescued the chicken from a hawk, poured disinfectant over bone, removed an eye, and kept her in the house, a natural pet. It's unclear if we love animals or only hate death. I love you. What will I do to you when you are weak? The cat and the chicken are fine. The cat's the one that attacked me right before my reading and got locked out of the room. And the chicken has one eye now, but lives out back and is doing great. So remember I talked about how many rats we had? Here's another one. Imagine the rats. Imagine the rats as wildlife and our sightings become a gift. The fox at the edge of the field, an otter surfacing to dark. Take the soft gray of rat fur, the smallness of paws, the comings from the nest under the shed, across the yard, feet from your chair, make you hold your breath. And I'm going to end with weeds. But all of these long, sun-punished days, the weeds believed you carried jars of cool water for them. All right, that's what I got for you today. I'll wait a couple more minutes to see if we have some questions come in. Feel free to just type them in the comments box. Feel free to take off if this is the time you had. Thanks for joining. Other than that, I've been told to like stall a few minutes afterwards to see if questions come in. So I'll talk about my influences. That's what I think every writer gets asked. Probably my favorite writers that influenced me as I was studying, of course, my undergraduate professor, because he was running all the workshops. So Richard Jackson. And of course the fellow students, like Bradley Paul, Laurel Snyder, Carrie Paul, Paul Guest, in grad school, Oliver de la Paz. There's just some amazing people I got to grow up with. But reading wise, I love Tomas Transtromer. Can't recommend him enough. I just reread his stuff last week. Cesar Pavese, and there are two translators of Pavese. And I'm not real fond of the one that came out, I think, in the last 10 years. But I think it was William Arrowsmith or Arrow something. He does an amazing job. And there's a book called Hard Labor, Getting Tired. That translation of Pavese is amazing. You can find it in some libraries. It's been out of print for a long time. Who else? Of course, Neruda. I love Neruda. I think those are my big three, big four, I guess. All right, I'm not seeing any questions come in. I started off by showing some of the books that I've liked the last few years, and I have a Handage question. What? Oh, guess what? You can actually scroll down on the comments and there's more. How do you like that? So you guys have been commenting. All right, let's see. Thank you guys. Oh, Kristen, did you see that I did a shout out to your book at the beginning? You may have joined after that, but yours was one of the ones I totally recommended. Let's see. Oh my gosh, now my husband is like driving me nuts with text. Hi, Magnus. How's it going? Handage. Okay, a little bit more about my time there. This is from Mary Artery. Thank you so much, Mary. I hope I pronounced your last name right. So I've been to Handage twice now. I went when I was pregnant with twins, and I wasn't allowed to hike. And they gave me this wonderful, giant room of a studio that was near the cafeteria. So at Handage, there are about 10 people there at a time. There's usually one or two writers. The rest will be photographers. I was there with a composer once who was amazing. Visual artists of all kinds. And you're there for at least 2 weeks. You can stay as much as a few months. And let's see, so that your day, you get together for dinner, and you'll usually spend a couple hours together after dinner. But besides that, there's no interaction. Everyone's in their own cabins that are all isolated in the woods. Most of the cabins can't even see each other. And how you spend your time is up to you. It gets really dark and it gets really isolated. 2 weeks is about all I can take. But at dinner, you have the most wonderful conversations because everyone's pretty starved for companionship at that point. And then usually the last night of the week or the last night of the couple weeks, if you've all been there at the same time, you might go on a studio tour where we actually have to drive between the cabins. They're that far apart and it's so dark at night. But you just go and look at what people have been working on the last couple of weeks. But it's your standard residency program where you apply, a bunch of people apply, and they have certain deadlines for the different seasons of the year. You can find them online. And you did spell Handage correctly, so you can find it. But yeah, I recommend it. If you're looking for something shorter, you don't have that time to commit, or you just don't want to get your application together. I've gone and stayed at a monastery before too, and there no one will talk to you, and basically you show up for meals, and people leave you alone. So that can also be pretty productive. Let's see. Do I have any readings coming up? I do. And in fact, now that's actually reminds me, I have a website, daniellejhanson.com. Did that show up? There, it did. Okay. And on that, I have a couple things I want to tell you about. One is the recommended reading. So whenever I read a book that I love, I do a little write-up on here. It helps me remember what I read that I really like. And I think it also just gives a little bit of publicity to a book I think needs more readers or should have more readers because it's so wonderful. And I always do a few little excerpts so you can tell if it's something that you might like. If we have the same taste, and feel free to send me in book suggestions. So there's a contact form on here, and I'm always looking for new things. So send me the things that you've loved. Readings is another thing on there. So I have a few coming up. I'll be in Blairsville, Georgia, mid-October, Knoxville, mid-November. I have one here in Atlanta at Cars Books, mid-November as well. And then a few places around Atlanta, January through May of next year. But if you're in driving distance and you want me to come out, that can probably be arranged. A few other things I have on the website that I really like. I think you should check out. There's a Poetryoke tab. Last year we went around Atlanta and in Little Five Points and at a library, we just showed up with a group of poems. I did, and whoever I could find to come with me. And we would recruit people who are walking by into just reading a poem into a mic. So they were like Zimborska, Billy Collins, who else did we lean heavily on? James Tate. So poems that wouldn't be embarrassing to read. They were often pretty funny, no big words, or they weren't usually very dark themes either. And we would just basically do karaoke with poems. And we had lots of people come up to the mic and get to experience reading a poem without having to put their own work out there. Or if they're not a writer, they could still experience it. And there's pictures from those events on the Poetryoke tab. And it's just amazing to see, the cross-section of humans that we got to go up and read into a microphone. And if anyone wants to do that, I can send you files. I mean, it's easy to set up. You just need a mic, an amplifier, and some volunteers. I tried it once by myself, and I couldn't keep the mic warm and recruit volunteers at the same time. So it was a complete bomb, and it ended up with I had an illiterate homeless man come up, and he felt so sad for me because it was so awkward that he tried to read in the mic, and then he froze because he couldn't. And I figured that that was really sad because I put him in a bad spot too. But then on the second set, I just read my own stuff because I'm not going to bomb on someone else's work at that point. All right, I think that's all the questions. Oh wait, I can keep scrolling. Thank you. All right, I had more comments, but no more questions. So we're like 40 minutes into a 30-minute event. So maybe that's it. But really, feel free to shoot questions to me or book suggestions on my website. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks for joining. Bye. Oh, apparently I have to hit more than one button.